at this. Bear with me now on any of the GoPro footage on here, because this is the first time I've ever used my GoPro. Been sitting around for a year. So just because I didn't feel like doing the editing back and forth between the phone and this, so this may turn out horrible. But I wanted to take you guys on a ride because I've had a few people ask about it and different things about the car and, you know, what's going on with it, and you know, just questions about it. So one, I want to take a ride because any excuse for me to take it for a ride is nice. I went to Cars and Coffee this morning and took it out, and it's probably the last time I'm gonna take it out today for the season, just because I gotta do a lot of work on it. And for anybody that can't tell by sitting in here, it's my 1993 Honda Prelude SI from Canada. This was imported over here, so I have some of the special add-ons with it and stuff that came on more common with the Canadian model, hence the heated mirrors and a few different things. I've already went over that in some videos, but with driving this, I absolutely love this car. I have loved it. I've loved Prelude since day one. Since when I first started driving, my first was a 1989 Honda Prelude SI, four-wheel steering, and I absolutely fell in love with the car. So one thing that was always out of my reach at the time when I was younger was a 4th gen Honda Prelude. I always wanted the H22 VTEC model. You know, that was the highest sought after one with a leather interior and all the goodies. But at that time, never was able to attain them, and it was one of my favorite, right up there with the S2000, the NSX, and a few other cars I've driven that I've truly enjoyed, even out of the Honda realm. Prelude was still one of my top. The 3rd gen, 4th gen, 5th gen. Mainly 3rd and 4th are my favorite, but I do have lots of love for the 5th gen too. And of course 1st and 2nd, but those were more I would have for collector's cars or something like that. I didn't have the same passion. Never got to drive a 1st gen, so I can't say 100%, but 2nd gen I've gotten to driven. 3rd gen I've owned quite a few of them. 4th gen now I've owned a few, and 5th gen actually I've never owned one. Just had a few buddies with one and drove around, did some work on them, and enjoyed it, but I actually never owned one. So I've enjoyed this platform, and especially the 4th gen. It's funny because in the first beginning, I actually didn't like the 4th gen when I was younger right away. I was like, it looks too much like an Accord, which I love Accords, but I was just like, it's a Prelude, it shouldn't look like an Accord. And I was more into the flip-up pop-up headlights, you know, 3rd gen, which I still am. I love 3rd gens. They're absolutely beautiful when they're done right. Very classic car. But as I got older, I started messing around with them more and learning more about them. I was truly impressed with the 4th gen. The car was an immaculate car for the time, from 91 in some countries, but I'm gonna go with US. From 92 to 96, the car was fucking amazing. And even the SI, I got the SI. I had a dyno tested on a very hot day a couple years back, about a year back, and I still with just a header and exhaust, and I have leaking valve seals, so when I start it up every now and then, it gets a little smoky. I literally still was putting 154 to the wheels, and for 1993 in a 4-cylinder, guys, whether or not you want to give it credit, that was fast, that was impressive, that was, and to be torquey too. I'm a big fan. I love domestic cars, but at that time, I got a terrible glare on this. Sorry, guys. I don't think there's anything I can do with that, the way the camera's set up with the mirror to just move out of it. At that time, domestics, most of their cars, to be honest, were pretty bad. They were not very impressive. You had the Fox Body Mustang, you had a few other things, and yeah, they were fun. And they were great and be built, but out of the box for what they were, for a V8, for a much bigger motor, they were nowhere near pushing their potential or even had it figured out. Most of the vehicles that were put out by the domestic market that we could get our hands on, and then there were some of the Euro ones, but even the Euro ones were, to me, they were decent. But the Japanese in the 90s era were just really killing it, in my opinion. And that's why I think the 90s era Preludes and all the other 90 eras JDM cars are really going to hold their value and skyrocket in value from here on up. The ones that are in good shape, good records, or even OEM bone stock low mileage, of course they're going to hold their value. But even the modified ones, I guarantee even the modified ones that haven't been heavily changed from their actual position, or sorry, I'm saying position because I'm trying to reposition this, changed from their original look too much. I think they're going to definitely hold their value. That's just my opinion. But going back to the Prelude, because this is a Prelude video, for 1993, for the price of this car, it was to me the sexiest Honda at that time, and still is one of the better Hondas in my opinion. Big Honda guy all around, you guys know that. But the Prelude, I just think, is a very, very, very good hidden gem, and really underrated, which more and more as the years go by, it seems like people are starting to realize how nice they are and starting to want them. And sadly, a lot of them, in my opinion, have been riced out, destroyed, beat, and just completely, I mean, almost, a lot of them almost aren't able to be brought back, sadly. So they're actually becoming like unicorns, in my opinion. People, you might get some people that say, oh, I find them. Yeah, but the ones they find are just rotten to the core. They're just beat to hell. And trying to find one OEM or in good shape, slightly modded, or even heavily modded good shape is a rarity. For instance, this one has about 150,000 miles from its kilometers, so about 100,000 kilometers, but technically miles about around 150. And man, this glare is driving me nuts. So this was in pretty much all OEM shape when I got it. One other kid had it before. He had different seats in it. It is lower than the TN Flex Z's, I want to say, is what I have, which need a rebuild. I'll get to that soon. And its AC wasn't working at the time, just from some small leak stuff, but it was all pretty much bone stock other than the header. And it had a straight pipe, which to me, it was okay. The H-Series straight pipe doesn't sound too bad. Not like the Civic, the D-Series, and B-Series. I think straight pipe sounds pretty bad on those. But still, I like the NVIDIA N1 exhaust. I guess very toned, a lot less rasp, and much nicer. Complements the H-Series much nicer, I think. But with this, I got it pretty much bone stock, just a few mods, and in my opinion, close to bone stock. Even had stock intake, everything, lugs, wires, injectors, all that. And it was in very good shape. And I recharged AC, put new seals in it, drive around, power steerings work good. I could use cruise, I got a different steering wheel now, but I could use cruise control if I wanted, back when I had the OEM steering wheel. And the car is phenomenal. Like, I've taken friends in here that were hardcore Integra guys, hardcore Civic guys, and other brand name, and they have truly appreciated and liked this car. The Prelude's just something different, man. The dash, I swear Preludes have like that Prelude smell, which is funny, but I swear if you own one, or you get in, you know what I talk about, it's almost like a new car smell that never leaves. And that was even with my 3rd gen and my buddy's 5th gen. I just think it's a Prelude thing. I don't know what interior vents they use or something, but man, the cars smell good. They just must, as long as you treat them right, they do all right. But you get in these, and the interior is just very ahead of its time. It's really cool. It's not very cheap like my CR-V or the Integras or the Civics or the other Hondas of that era. It's very soft but yet durable. The seats the upholstery is amazing. The comfy. They hug you like, I mean, almost like a racing seat. The shifter is so smooth and beautiful, even bone stock. Would I like a short shifter? Yes, but I don't have one yet. Probably gonna go ahead and do a full K-tune shifter later. But the car was really well built, and they were pricier for the time, so a lot of people went with the Civic or the Integra and missed out on these because of price, which was understandable. Understandable at that time, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, Honda, I'm going to get it for an economical car." They didn't really grasp how nice these cars could be, unlike over in Japan and stuff, where they really understood what these cars were and what they were meant to be, both economical and sporty. So this was a sports coupe in the early 90s that is just like a timeless classic now. You can throw some wheels on it, lower it, and as long as your body and paint's good and your body lines match up, you almost don't have to do anything to it. It's just an incredible, sexy car. And I can't get over how well built these things are compared to many other vehicles I've had of this time and era. That being said, it's also almost about 25-year-old car, if not at that, depending on what year you got. And you're gonna have things that you need to replace and do, but all the maintenance and stuff aside, if you take good care of your Prelude, you'll be very happy with it. But I'm not gonna go into super detail with that. What I wanted to show is that these cars, for their age and for the time in 1993, were very ahead of their time in something special. And I don't think they get enough credit for that. And I think if more people nowadays, and luckily there's people like big YouTubers and other people that are reviewing these cars now, and unfortunately even them, I think some of them they're coming upon a rough ones to review, because you have no other choice. There's so few and far between to find, and now so many of them are heavily modded, which, don't get me wrong, I love, and I think it's a great platform to mod, and it actually, in my opinion, is starting to make a comeback and get bigger. I'm noticing more and more stuff available for them, and more sought after, which I am so happy for, because the Civic and Integra are awesome, and they will always have a platform in racing history and Honda history, and there'll always be stuff there. But after a while, for me at least, even owning an EG or EJ1, but EG body style, owning a few different Integras, I get bored with them. I really do. I mean, I don't get bored with them. I'd still love to jump at them, but come on, I want to see something different. I want to see some other things. I'm tired of seeing how many times can you do a Civic and Integra, the same type of build with so many people, that almost the same way. It's nice to see people get out there and do the Accords, do the Preludes, do the rare things like the Acura Legends, and different things that you find that are much harder to find nowadays because they were much more expensive back then, or they've just been completely beaten to the point of almost no return. And so like, just here, I'm not even really getting on it, like just barely pressing the gas, and the way that sounds is just beautiful. The H series is a great motor. It was the big boy block back in the day before the K series really took over, and to me the H series still has a lot of potential when it's built right. But in stock form, or mildly modded, or even just NA, it's just a great motor in my opinion. Great motor. That's why you see Civic and Integras and other, even Accords, just doing very good times with basically just all motor. And to me, I just think it is a beautiful platform, and I love that they're coming back almost in far as style and what I'm seeing more and more stuff on the internet about it, and a lot more things with it. But sadly, they're becoming harder and harder to find. Like, I need new windshield trim, there's nothing left in Honda, nothing. And you figure there is starting to get some places for like 3D printed stuff and things like that. You figured there would be more like like kind of like you got for those classic old Chevy trucks and old Fords, and some type of vendor that would set up and make windshield closest to the spec of OEM, and door trims and some of those OEM things again. Hopefully someone does do that, because I believe the need for them, I mean, it's not gigantic, but it's big enough to make some money and keep these cars going, and I believe it would motivate more people to find an older one and bring it back to life. It's just very hard right now because finding these parts are so few and far between from anything OEM and especially JDM. And that brings me to another point, is these cars are beautiful JDM style, European style, American. There's so many things, and I'm gonna get probably some hate from the JDM guys in this, but I actually like a lot of the American style, or USDM style, I guess you'd say, a lot. I do. I mean, there's very few, different things, but a lot of people go out of their way to put a lot of the stuff on there that's almost too gaudy, in my opinion, too much JDM stuff. And I honestly like the way they came over to America to a certain point. There's a few things missing, of course. I'm a big fan of JDM headlights. I have a set. I haven't put them in. But, of course, I love the one-piece headlights. But then again, the USDMs, and I believe the European, I'm not 100%, are glass. And to me, the glass just cleans up much better, lasts longer. Yes, you can get it pitted and it can get bad over time, but generally they held up pretty well. And that was just something that I like all the way around. Like, you can always find some kind of combination that somebody's gonna like. They're either gonna like too much or too little, or just the right amount in their opinion of OEM / JDM look is my way of look. Then you have people that really like to, what I call rice them out, big wings, big body kits, do those things. I'm not really a big fan of them, of that, but to each their own. If you do it right, it can still look amazing on this car. Like, for instance, there's a copy of an, hold on. I haven't done anything but an intake, header, and a test pipe and cat back to this. That's it, other than, tune-up, normal tune-up and stuff. And that was just up to 100, just playing around. And yes, that's not quote-unquote super fast and everything, but it is very quick for a 1993, and it wasn't even the top-of-the-line model. And that's just, and then this is what my clutch is starting to go bad. So, to me, this is just an awesome platform. But going back to what I was saying, so there's like an R34 style type body kit. I'm not a big body kit guy, but if you do that kit right, that is a sexy look. It makes a Fortune look sexy. Then there's other people that have done some kits that have almost made it look like a 240 in some ways, and that has looked beautiful and done well. I'm more of a fan of the OEM Honda look. I like OEM Plus, I guess you'd say. And that's more my thing. But there's just so much you do. And the biggest thing I say to everybody that's asked me about this is, the most important thing is, on the 4th Gen Prelude, I think you have to try your best to line up your body lines. And I couldn't even do that well, but I tell you what, you bring it to a good body guy, the guy that painted my car, Randy, and you guys have seen some of his stuff in my videos, and you'll see more of them when I get time to go to the shop and stuff. That guy, man, he is a body guy. You want to find someone like him. He's fucking amazing at what he does, and he truly has a knack and a yearning for it that it shows in his work. So that's kind of how I am with meticulous things and doing the engine work and different stuff, to my ability. But I take pretty good care of my car, and I can do a lot of the body mod stuff. But if you can find a guy when you're done and you're ready that can line up the body, get the fenders straight with the doors, and I mean the little things that people are missing, the bumper lined up with the fenders perfect, all of that, set where it's supposed to be, you won't regret it. The hood line matching, that is the biggest thing that has contributed to so much compliments on my car, is that everything has been lined up very well, and that was thanks to him. He did an amazing job. But we'll be back. I'm gonna pull up for some gas. All right, guys, I'm back. Now I need to get past these speed bumps. So I don't bust my whole lip and front end. Okay, so I just had to gas up. Normally I put 93 in here. Another thing, Preludes only take premium only. I'm not gonna argue with you fools that sit there and go, oh, you don't have to run premium, blah, blah, blah. They do that shit in my MDX all the time, trying to say you don't. If you know anything about timing and stuff, you can see how that harms the motor in the long run, what it will cause. Plus, you're just starving yourself more power and better gas mileage. This car has got 150-something thousand miles, and a lot of the parts are starting to show. It's just fun. It's addicting. It's addicting. And I'm sure you guys know, what's in your car, but it's just fun to do in this thing because, man, it's really pretty much bone stock. And other than my intake, exhaust, and header, like I told you, and that was with the AC on, which could definitely affect a little four-cylinder. So what I got to do to this thing is I'm getting ready to pull it in the garage here soon, and it's going to be starting soon here within the month. So I'm going to be putting this thing under a knife, and what to kind of go over with what this needs. It needs a whole lot of stuff. And actually, what I'll do is I will, wow, beautiful new Super just went by, already modified and done. Wow. Which those are coming out in 6-speed, I think, now too, or soon. But we'll get to that more. I'll talk more about it here in a second and go over a few things once we do a walk around. Okay, guys, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere at the end of a new cul-de-sac getting built. So basically, like I was talking about in the car, is, this thing is beautiful. You guys have all given me some great compliments. I absolutely love the body work Randy did on this and the paint, and shout out to myself even, because I put a lot of hard work into the way it sits, the way it looks, and different things that I had envisioned in my mind. Now it is getting ready to go under the knife big time. So when you see something like this, a lot of people are like, why don't you drive it more? Well, obviously I already have enough few rock chips on the lip and the front bumper, and it drives me nuts because I just got it painted just shortly over a year ago. But that will be taken care of. I'll have to have him hit back up the bumper. But in all reality, I'm hoping to find a new OEM bumper, because the reason why I have these tabs on it is for the kid that got it from before. This OEM bumper is in great shape, other than on this side, the inside tab is broken on it. So that is why I did keep those. That's not a horrible look to me, but it's not the look I wanted to go for. Not on this one anyways. But, excuse me. But, that is something that I'll be in the future looking for. So as of right now, I have the first molding carbon fiber lip on there, which I absolutely love. And then of course I have the OEM, minus all the bug guts, the OEM fog lights, but those are the 3D printed from Origin Print. I want to say it's originprint.com. The guy does a few stuff printed for 3rd gen Preludes. I do have the OEM covers and the JDM yellow headlights, or sorry, yellow fog lights I'll be putting on Those are the JDM or European ambers OEM, and I actually had to make the hole over there because I wanted all the lights all the way around, and cut the hole into that because it was just a reflector to be able to put my lights in there, just like the USDM version, because I couldn't find a clean set of the USDM ones, which I got a really good deal on these. Those are just some depot amber corner lights, which look good, I like, and of course those are the USDM OEM headlights. I do have a set of black housing JDM headlights going on there, with smoked amber corners, done custom by one of the guys that does them on the group. But I do have a Cybon carbon fiber hood OEM. I think I'm going to stick with the OEM hood. I just love how everything matches OEM right now. I do have a nice set of wheels that I will be showing soon, and some new tires. I'm not going to spoil that right now. And geez, I just cleaned this thing off. It's all dirty just driving to get gas. But to kind of go over what's wrong with it, this thing needs a whole new suspension overhaul. It needs a whole new motor overhaul. It needs more than it looks like it needs, actually. All my motor mounts are shot. My axles are shot. Tie rods, ball joints, everything are close to being done. I mean, for 1993, most of it is OEM. To be totally honest, I'm impressed that it is definitely still lasting this long, but I have everything to completely redo the suspension, every bushing. It's gonna be energy suspension, all new camber kit, control arms, everything that you can get. Unfortunately, there is no aftermarket option for the control arms on this thing. I wish there was, and I'm hoping somebody makes one. But hard race and energy suspension makes some good bushings for it, so it'll be a mixture of that. Like I said, body is pretty much going to stay this color. I have thought of possibly trying to find the gold OEM emblems, the Prelude and Honda badges. If I could find that, I'd like that, because I may do just black and gold as the engine bay and some of the accents, and then the interior just black with red stitching. I do want to find a good set of Recaro seats. Haven't decided on which ones yet, so when I do, that will definitely be something that I do here in the future. So I can still see as I'm walking around some spots where I left some wax. It's another thing with black cars, they're such a pain in the ass to keep clean. So that's why I hate driving it, but love driving it. I do have a whole lot of new motor work to do in this thing. I mean, I have mountains and mountains of parts. The interior, minus that I got to fix my shift boot. That kind of fell through in the ring, so I'm going to fix that. The interior is pretty much going to stay the same. I'm not going to have too much other than some other additional gauges and stuff. I have not decided. There's another addition to I had done. There's a guy that does on the forums. I'll try to remember his name. Jason Miller is his actual name, but I can't remember his business's name, because I actually honestly talk to him more than I do through the business. But he does the Prelude ones, and I have an upgrade of these too that I'm going to even be doing that are even nicer than these ones on there. I just haven't got a chance to do it. But basically, yeah, interior wise, not much is going to change. Different seats down the road. I'm not even going to mess with the gauge clusters. I do have a 94 with the EL all digital LCD cluster that is just amazing, and it definitely is something that I love, but I'm not going to spend the time switching on there. So basically, this is just the H23A1. This is the OEM motor that's in there with 51,000 miles plus on here. And as you can see, pretty much almost everything is bone stock. Other than the header, the intake, and the fuse box cover, which is carbon fiber pass for JDM, everything else is pretty much bone stock. Oh, and I did do the Megan Racing strut tower bar front and rear. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. And the motor is actually really, really healthy and really good shape, but the valve seals are starting to go, so it sits for a while. It starts up a little rough, burns a little bit of oil. You can see it spit right out the back. Go for a drive, clear it out, and then pretty much that's it. You know, nothing else from there, but still OEM, alternator, everything else is OEM. But I am doing an H22 Euro R swap in here. And for now, it is gonna stay all motor and be clean have AC, have power steering, have everything in it, and still have a reliable, fun car. My other one might become the Monster. We'll see. Oh, I also did this BB Alliance, of course, the radiator stays and the cooling plate. But it will be a lot nicer with a lot more new goodies, and stay tuned on the channel for that. The only thing is I'm having a tough time if I want to make this still reliable and fun, but nasty also. And that all-wheel drive kit has got me thinking, and I hate this. This is one thing, you guys watch. There we go. I hate that because I don't want to push down hard on that hood because I'm so afraid to leave a little dent or dings or anything in it. And being such a long, heavy hood, you'd think it'd close easier, but it has more of a problem. But other than that, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Should I go all-wheel drive, boosted, and still keep AC and do all that? Or should I do all-wheel drive K-swapping it in the long run? Here's the trunk. Nothing too special in there. Got the Megan Racing strap bar. Of course, I wish I could find spoon and stuff, but, you know, those are hard to find. But those work. A lot of people complain about them, but they actually fit really good. You just got to make a lot of adjustments with the ends, and then after that, you're good to go. And then, of course, that's an Accord rear lip cut and fitted to there, and it's an NVIDIA N1 exhaust. I have videos on that stuff too if you guys want to see it. But I don't know. Let me know what you think. She's getting ready to go under the knife. I'm not going to do all-wheel drive, K-swap, or anything right now, but I am debating in the future. But I think it's so nice that I should just mildly do an H22 Euro R, Honda S300, have it all done, few mods, and leave it more as a reliable, fun car / weekend track car, but still something you could jump in and drive, and maybe make the other Prelude the beast. But then again, I'm debating on selling the other Prelude and just putting all my money in this. And I know with enough money, I could probably make this thing K-swap, keep the AC. I'd have to get rid of the power steering, but it's not a big deal in here. I got it out of the other one. Keep the AC and do this all-wheel drive and still make it a pretty fun, reliable car that I can throw the family in and go down to a car show if I wanted to. It's nothing I'm going to drive daily. This is no longer ever going to be a daily. So hopefully. But, oh, another thing too is it needs new brakes, and I got new brakes all the way around for it too. So yeah, it is definitely getting ready to go under the knife.